My daughter didn't speak for 3 days after what happened at school. When she finally did, I understood why I'd never once told her she was wrong. Priya is 14 and has always been the quiet type. The kid who returns extra change to cashiers, who saves spiders from the bathroom instead of killing them. She's also the older sister to my son Dev, who has severe anxiety and selective mutism. Most people who meet Dev think he's rude. He's not. He just can't always make words come out. So when her history teacher, Mr. Calloway, called me on a Tuesday afternoon, voice clipped and professional, I already felt my stomach drop before he finished his first sentence. Mrs. Rajan, your daughter physically interfered with a classroom disciplinary situation today. I'm recommending a 2-day suspension. I left a client meeting and drove to the school rehearsing every possible version of the story. Priya was sitting outside the principal's office when I arrived, backpack on her lap, hands folded, eyes steady, not ashamed, just quiet. The principal, a tired-looking woman named Dr. Ellis, explained that Mr. Calloway had attempted to remove a student from the classroom, a boy named Marcus, and that Priya had stepped between them physically and refused to move. Mr. Calloway stood near the window, arms crossed. She escalated the entire situation. I've been teaching for 11 years. I've never had a student physically block me. I looked at Priya. Tell me exactly what happened. She took a slow breath. Marcus has a stutter, a bad one. Mr. Calloway called on him even though Marcus had his head down, which is what he does when he doesn't want to be called on. Everyone knows that. Marcus tried to answer, but he kept getting stuck on the first word. Mr. Calloway started counting out loud, like, I'll give you 5 seconds, 4, 3. The whole class was watching. I kept my face neutral. Marcus started crying, just quietly, but you could see it. Mr. Calloway told him to collect himself and go stand in the hall until he could participate properly. He grabbed Marcus's shoulder to move him. She paused. I stood up and stepped in front of Marcus. I told Mr. Calloway that what he was doing wasn't discipline. It was humiliation. The room was very still. Mr. Calloway's jaw tightened. She created a scene out of nothing. Marcus was being unresponsive and disruptive. There is a protocol for that. He was crying, Priya said. Not to Calloway, but to me. And nobody else was going to say anything. Dr. Ellis shifted uncomfortably. I asked whether anyone had reviewed what happened. She mentioned there was a classroom aide present. I asked whether the aide had been interviewed. A pause. Not yet. Mr. Calloway's voice went hard. With respect, your daughter doesn't get to decide classroom management. That's not her role. And if she's not disciplined for this, you're teaching her that defiance is acceptable. I looked at him for a moment before responding. I'm trying to understand something. Marcus has a documented stutter. Is there an accommodation plan on file for him? Another pause. Dr. Ellis opened her laptop. There was one. It explicitly stated that Marcus should never be cold called and should be given written alternatives for oral participation. It had been filed at the start of the semester. Mr. Calloway said nothing. I turned back to Dr. Ellis. So the documented protocol wasn't followed, and when a student began showing visible distress, the response was public removal. I kept my voice even. I'm not defending physical interference, but I'd like to understand what's being done about the part that happened before Priya stood up. Dr. Ellis said she would need to review the incident further. Mr. Calloway left the room without speaking again. On the drive home, Priya stared out the window for a long time. Then she said, I didn't do it to be brave. I just kept thinking about Dev, about how it feels when people treat you like your brain is the problem. I didn't say anything for a moment. I know, I finally told her. She got a 1-day in-school reflection period instead of a suspension. Marcus's accommodation plan was reviewed with all his teachers the following week. Mr. Calloway requested a different classroom assignment 3 weeks later. I never told Priya I was proud of her that day. She already knew.